I should have videoed it before we started demoing it. But, so guys, we're gonna take this sidewalk out here. We're gonna take and build a step that goes back here. There's a bunch of pavers in here that we're ripping out, like a little red retaining wall blocks that aren't really holding that well. This concrete's kind of failing up in here. Got a big crack here. So we're gonna saw cut it right here. And then we're going to replace all this concrete, but it's going to go over to here, and then we're going to build that step back a little bit. It's going to go all the way across there. So we're just picking up these pavers first, and then we got the excavator here. We're going to try to rip this out. We might have to jackhammer it, but Biscuit's loading up the retaining wall blocks on the trailer. Big Biscuit's going to cut that off, guys. And I'm in here with the excavator. We're gonna try to rip this out. What we're gonna do, Tuna's gonna put that board underneath my blade right there so I don't damage the driveway. Right about there, buddy. We're gonna cut that off, spray some water right on it so it doesn't make a huge dust mess. I'm gonna back that trailer right up in here so I can pick this stuff up and set it right on the trailer. Hey guys, Bondo here. So the boys cut that slab off, and I just picked it up with the excavator here. And what Big Biscuit's doing, throwing some stuff underneath it so we can try to break it up into pieces. So yeah, just like that. End up putting them pieces under it, and it just snapped. There was no wire mesh or nothing in here, so we ended up taking all the concrete and putting it on this flat trailer and getting rid of it. And then we dug out. You'll see here in a little bit. We had to dig out all that topsoil and bring in some better material. Some crushed rock in here, but I'm just breaking it up with the excavator here, and in a minute here I'd put the blade right on it right there and just try to snap it. But we ended up cutting it right here. Jason's cutting it, and that made it break easier right here. Just put some stuff under it, and it ended up breaking so we could get it. My excavator wouldn't pick up those big pieces, so we just wanted to bust them up. It worked pretty good. We ended up taking 2 loads of stuff out of this little job, believe it or not. 2 loads that flat trailer would handle. And then we brought 1 load of the rock, the crushed rock, back in to fill it all in for a good base. Let's see the Tuna power here. Boom! Tuna's a machine. Oh, that's got wire in it, yep. Separate port. Hold on, buddy. I don't want to hit that thumb. Hold on. I don't want you. There. We don't need a jackhammer with Tuna around. We do have a jackhammer today, but we don't need it. Tired you out, huh, kid?
Oh yeah.
Do we want to leave that one whole or cut it down a little bit?
Can you pick it up like that?
No, probably not. Let her eat, Tuna. Boom, kid. Break a couple more off that sucker. Tuna's a machine. That's probably good. I can move that now. Big Biscuit's cutting this last flag in half so I can break it. Oh, big rock there, huh? What? Big rock there.
Okay guys, we got this all dug out. Dug it down about a foot at least. Well, we got a room for probably 8 inches of good material. Took all that clay and rocks and junk out of there. And we got some 3/4 minus, they call it, which is basically little tiny stones with dust in it. Pulverized rock, there's no dirt in it. It's just all rock. We probably got 3 yards or so on the trailer here, on the flat trailer. So we're gonna scoop it in here and make a good base for underneath this thing. That's what we're doing. Okay guys, here it is, all ready to go. Got it all formed up. I'm only seeing where it's gonna take about 3 yards to pour this. It obviously took a lot longer to demo it than it will to pour it. But that's that. We drilled some rebars into here just to tie it into the other slab. Got it thicker here. So we're gonna grab some wire mesh too. I'm gonna put fibers in it. 4,000 pound concrete. We'll catch you tomorrow on the pour. Okay guys, here's the project that we got ready. Gonna pour it today. We put some expansion stuff on there. We glued it on. And it's got a nice pitch to it. Gonna be nice. And we're gonna stamp this too with a seamless stamp right here. These are called heavy stone. It's a Cycus stamp, guys. Heavy stone. Really nice stamps. I like them. They got a deep rock pattern in them, so they look really nice. And we're going with it looks orange, but it'll turn the concrete brown. That's the color we're going with. Should be nice here. And we'll use the charcoal release on it. They got like a yellowish brown house. They got brown shutters, so I think it'll go well. And you seen the tear out that we took out, so that's what we got going on today, guys. Stay tuned. Mud's here. Circle T. And we're at the driveway, buddy. We're a little bit late today.
Okay guys, so up to this point everything was going pretty well. We got the color mixed into the concrete. It took a few minutes to do that, and this load came right from the same town that we were in, so I'm not sure what happened. I think they had some equipment problems at the plant, so I think this concrete was sitting on the truck for quite a while before it got to us, because the concrete was actually a little bit late. So usually we'll pour these plasticizer mixes at about like a 6.5 to 7 slump. They'll be real workable and stuff. But he started to run this out right here, and I mean it was really thick. I'm like, okay, we need to add a little water to this. But I said, well, run this little bit out. I flipped the chute up here, and I figured that we'll run some of it out at the step here, because usually at a step like this you want it a little thicker anyway. So I had him start dumping some out here right along the bottom of the step just to stop it from flowing out the bottom, and then we actually go over top of the step and put a little bit in. Also, we threw some under our wire mesh because that actually helps hold the wire mesh up. So I figured out we'll just run a little bit of this out and then we'll add our water. So I really didn't think we were in any kind of trouble yet. I didn't realize that the concrete was gonna be a hot load or whatever. Because after we dumped this in, he put like 3 gallons of water in it. He ended up having 4 yards on this truck instead of 3, because I ordered 3, but at the plant they messed up somehow and they sent me 4 yards. So I'm not sure what was going on there either. But this was just 4,000 pound concrete. It had fibers in it. It's got air entrainment in it, and it had some super plasticizer in it to actually make it workable, which it was not workable at all. You'll see here in a minute how unworkable this concrete was. I mean, it's all in fast forward, but we really struggled with this stupid thing, and just a tiny little job here for us. We do stuff bigger than this all the time with the three of us, so it was a pain. But you see here, I'll flip the chute back down. The driver asked me to because he could see better, and then we just dumped a little bit more out here on the step part, just on the face of the step. But we kept it down low so that I figured when he mixed up his looser concrete, we would just top everything off with the looser concrete. But he couldn't add enough water into this concrete to slow it down. At the end of the job, he said he put 20 gallons of water in it, which 20 gallons of water on 4 yards is quite a bit. So just couldn't slow it down. It was just going like crazy on us. So here is where we stopped with the thicker concrete. I just raked it down, like I said, got my step all established, and then he was going to loosen it up for me. And I figured to run it up, to about a 5.5, 6 slump, and we just pulled this right out real easy. But you'll see it didn't work out like that for us. We're getting our wire mesh up right here, which that worked out pretty good. But right here, I think this is where he's mixing it up. I'm just going to kind of I took a Sawzall right here, guys. That's a Sawzall in my hand, and I'm using the Sawzall to vibrate the face of that stamp. That's what I'm doing right here. The face of that step, not stamp. That step, I'm using that to vibrate. You'll get the air pockets and bubbles out of it, so you have a nicer face to that step.
Okay guys, we poured the step area a little bit thicker. So now he's gonna add some more water to it. This concrete's got plasticizer in it, so that first part was about a 3.5 slump, 3.5 slump. Now we're running up to about a 5.5 to finish it. And that should make things a lot easier to work with. That's why we did it, just for that step.
So here, guys, after he added the water, we figured it would be a lot more workable. So it starts coming out here. And it wasn't too bad. It was a little thicker than I wanted, but I didn't want to keep dumping water into it. So I figured, we'll just run with it a little bit thick. It was probably like a 5 slump when we first started, maybe a 4.5. It was fairly tight, hard to work, but we ended up just saying, we'll just run with it. When you don't have much concrete in a truck, you don't want to keep dumping water into it and make junk concrete. But this had the super plasticizer in it, so maybe that's why it took off so fast. I'm not sure. I've never had it take off quite that fast on me, especially something so small. So I think, like I said, the driver did say he had some problems at the plant with his with the batch system that they got. They had trouble with it, so I think the concrete was probably sitting in the truck too long. Maybe the aggregates were hot or whatever, but this, you can't really tell how much we're struggling with this, but this was really hard to get down at this point. By the time we got over to here, I was kind of not yelling at the boys, but telling them to get their butts moving. Like, let's go, get this down, because I could tell it was, it wanted to dry. It was kind of, you could feel it when you've worked with concrete as long as I have. You can kind of feel it when you're standing on it, how much it's holding you up, and also when you're working it. You can see here when this last part, when we get under this bottom step, when he dumps some concrete out, I'll try to show you, point it out to you, but you'll see how much the slump is, how low the slump is, just by how much it piles up when he dumps it out. And you guys that don't know what slump is, it's the consistency of the concrete, how much water is in it. They do a slump test, and you'll see here, right about in this time frame, right in here, not quite yet, I guess not. You'll see it here in a minute, guys. So I'm just finishing that bottom step. I just used a straight stick to get it flat on each side, on the edge of this step and on the outside, and then I took a shorter screed stick and pulled it off. Like I said, this was thick concrete, guys. It was, yeah, here I am with the stick. I'm kind of getting the boys, like, yelling at them, trying to keep them moving. Here I go with the shorter stick. Right here is where you're going to see it, guys, the concrete when it piles up here. It didn't even want to roll out of the chute. Jason's just kind of pulling it out of the chute, it was pretty dry by this point, so you could still work with it, but it wasn't fun at all. We were all sweating like crazy. But you'll see how dry this is when I got it in the wheelbarrow in a minute. You'll see how dry it is after we got done pouring it. We had to immediately start stamping this thing. I took and we took the form face off the step and rubbed that out real quick so I could stamp that. I used knee boards to kind of get out on there to work that face of that stamp. I didn't video that part, but it was firm enough to put a knee board on and not do any damage just right after we poured it, about 5 minutes later. We're just washing things up here.
Guys, we got the concrete down. It was a killer, believe it or not, for 3 yards. I don't know if they sent us a hot load or what, but this is the concrete, and it's, how long has it been? Like half an hour? Tuna, take the shovel and scoop into that concrete. So this concrete right here is an hour old, guys. 1 hour. I don't know what happened. We got a hot load or what, but so we got it down. Yeah, I'm picking it up. That's 1 hour old. So we got it all in though, nice. We pulled our face. We rubbed some cream on the face of that. I'm gonna try to stamp that face. So I think it's gonna come out real nice, but man, that concrete came in hot on this load, guys. That was not fun for this little tiny thing, believe it or not.
Okay guys, so like I said, we had to immediately start stamping this thing. So here I got out on the stamp, and I wanted to stamp the face of this step, so this is what I did here. I took like my little floppy stamp and hit it with a mag trowel, and just kept working the face of that and the top of that step so that we could stamp that top without stepping right where the step is. So you can see I'm just doing as far as one little floppy stamp, and I flip it each time. But you can see Big Biscuit's got my flat shoes on, and he never gets out on these concrete when we're stamping it because he's so big it would leave duck ponds. But I told him to go get my flat shoes on. I said I didn't even put the flat shoes on. I just wore my muck boots. So you can see we're really hustling on this, guys, trying to get this down. And you can see all of us out there jumping on these things, trying to get the impression in that we wanted. And I had the Big Biscuit out there, and I was whacking it with the tamper, and our Tuna was whacking it with the tamper. I was pretty much moving the stamps back and forth, trying to get this thing done. We ended up getting a pretty good impression in there, but I mean, we really had to hustle on this stupid thing. I usually stamp them by myself. If you watch my videos, I usually stamp a lot of these bigger, way bigger than this, all by myself. And this one you couldn't do that with. We just hustling right along to get it done, and we got her. That's how we did it, guys. Saved this one right here. We did.
Here we go, guys. We got her down. This little step that we poured today. We're able to stamp the face of this. I don't know if you could see it in the video, but we're able to get some stamp in there. So it came out pretty cool. It was a pain though. The concrete came in a hot load. A lot of people would have lost that load, I guarantee you. It was drying real fast, but we got it in and stamped it. It took us like an hour to pour it and stamp it. It was like dry and done in an hour.